Silicon Valley, technology, art, green, and sustainability.
Welcome to another episode of Silicon Valley Tech, Art, Green, and Sustainability. Today I'm very honored to have with me the first woman sheriff ever, Sheriff Laurie Smith. I'm so honored that you could join me today.
Thank you.
This is just great to have you here. And I think this is an election year, so it's doubly important to have you here and have you out in the public. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
I worked for the Sheriff's Office for a long time, almost 41 years. I started in 1973, and that was really...
You look like you were born in 1873. So
thank you.
Not to butter you up, but
I'll
you
take
do.
it.
You look great.
Oh,
so.
You're wonderful. Thank you. So, but at the time I was hired, women couldn't even take the test to be a cop.
Wow.
There were no such thing. And so I was hired under the classification of Deputy Sheriff Matron. And we were full peace officers. We went to the same academy. We carried a gun, but we were limited on some of the duties that we did.
So did they have you on desk duty a lot of times then?
Well, mostly it was the jail.
Okay.
But then we would do rape investigations. We'd do some undercover work and sometimes detective work, but mostly it was just the jail. It's kind of funny because our uniforms were only skirts. And we...
so you couldn't run very easily.
Yeah, I know. And
Oops,
but it was the
nylon.
green skirt and the tan shirt, and the gun was in a purse. We had a purse that had a handcuff case and a holster, and that was the uniform.
That's
and I still
awkward.
have some of the old uniforms.
Wow.
So
and let me pull up the first slide too. And I think this may be a photo when you just started with the department here. I'm not sure where the photos, but let's pull the first slide up. And you're from Michigan originally.
Yes.
So this,
yes.
So the up on the top corner is the state emblem, and then the California state emblem. Is this early on, or when was this photo?
No, actually, that's probably about 10 years ago. Because I've got, or maybe 15 years ago, because I've got the 4 stars that sheriff. So that's not that
That's
old
on
of
the
a
shoulder
picture.
there.
On the shoulder, yes.
Okay.
And
wow.
also on the collar of the shirt.
So that means sheriff when you have the 4 stars.
4 is usually the chief of police or the sheriff. So yeah, I grew up in Michigan, and my brother was about 10 years old, or 10 months older than I was, or he still is. And I think that we were so competitive as kids, and he wanted to go into law enforcement. That's, I think, where I got the idea.
Into it?
There's 5 kids in our family. They're all in Michigan, and they all went into law enforcement.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy because there's no other law enforcement in our family, so I don't know how that happened.
Were you the only girl?
No, I had another sister. She's still working for a sheriff's office in Michigan.
That's incredible.
And my 3 brothers are all retired.
And were your parents in law enforcement?
No, no one in our family was.
That's interesting.
I know, it really is. Must be a study and must be an oddity somehow.
So, and you've been doing this since 1998?
Sheriff since I was elected as sheriff in 1998.
And how many, is it every 4 years then?
It's every 4 years, and I'm running again, and the election is in June.
So how is the sheriff's department different than regular police department, and how does it differentiate between the two? And I know a little bit from listening to you speak before, but.
Sheriff's offices are interesting. The California Constitution mandates that every county have an elected sheriff. So the sheriff has the same exact duties as police departments and then several more. So we're responsible for everything that's not incorporated into a city. But then there are 3 cities in the county that contract with us for law enforcement services. And that's Cupertino, Saratoga, and Los Altos Hills. So we're their city police department. So we do unincorporated, which is about 70% of the county geographically is unincorporated.
70%.
It's because we go up Mount Hamilton and down the other side.
So let's pull up the next slide. And you say unincorporated, and I think of the Las Gatos Hills and hiking, and some of the, I guess San Jose has a lot of hillside now. Is that part of the unincorporated parts of San Jose? Do you guys cover too? So here we've got, looks like some people doing some search and rescue on the top. And then the bottom, this is what the hillsides looked like a lot of the time.
It's a beautiful county, isn't it?
Pull that down. So you are responsible then for a part of San Jose too, the unincorporated areas, or no?
So there's a lot of unincorporated pockets in the city of San Jose, like the Burbank area and the Cambrian area. That's county, but we have all of the remote areas. And I think your first slide was probably our marijuana eradication team.
Oh.
I think that's what it was, because we have a lot of illegal marijuana grows, and that is just devastating on the environment because there's usually people that are living there, so there's a lot of human waste, food waste,
Trash.
guns. So if you ever, and they divert water, they poison, they'll put chemicals that are not legal in this state into their water supply. They use DDT.
I remember a few years ago there was the case of a family up in the Saratoga foothills that I think ran across some folks, and it can be dangerous too because they're trying to protect their crops and they're taking over land that's not really there. So good job for doing what you do. What else do you guys do now? I know the statistics just came out in Cupertino. I just went to the economic development. They just had their first ever report on the breakdown of people that live there and don't live there versus commuting. And I remember when you spoke at the city of Cupertino, the crime rate in Saratoga is phenomenal compared to the rest of the U.S. And that's partially because of what you guys do.
Well, I'd like to take full credit for it, but obviously there's a lot of factors that make a low crime rate, but we have great deputies. So Saratoga is actually the lowest crime rate, and what they did, there was a recent study and they looked at cities over 20,000 population, and we provide services for Saratoga, and it was the lowest crime rate in the state of California for cities over 20,000.
Over 20,000. Wow.
Yeah, and if you look at cities over 50,000, Cupertino is the third safest. And that's amazing. We're real proud of that. Those are going to be hard numbers to keep up on, but we have great people who do a great job.
Now, the next question about sustainability and green. You're doing some things that are sustainable and green, and maybe we can pull up the first slide for us to look at, or the next slide. I think it will be the third slide. So this was on your web, and this talks about some programs that you started at Elmwood, I guess it is. And we could pull that back down, and that's on your website. If people want to go there, they can grab that. Tell us about the programs you've started.
We've been doing a lot of things. The great thing that we have is free workers. They're inmates, but they're really excited about a lot of the programs we're doing. About 2/3 of the water at Elmwood that's used for irrigation is all recycled. We never before, so the jails are something that are under the sheriff's control, but formerly it was a separate department, and they never recycled.
So it is under the control?
It's us,
okay.
Yeah, we operate the jails too, and court security, and also the coroner's office too. So we've got a big variety of duties. But, so they never even recycled at the jail, and so now 80% of the waste that we generate doesn't go into landfill.
It's being diverted.
So, yes, and so we're really proud of that. We're doing a lot of training for inmates. Sustainable gardening. We have a certificate program where they're teaching in the morning, and in the afternoon they're working. The 80% that we're recycling has saved the county $100,000 a year just in the costs. We have done audits. We do mulch, composting. We have a worm box for fertilizing. We have several nurseries.
Now, are they making worm boxes too, or no?
Yeah, the inmates make them. The inmates made the composting boxes. There's the different stages.
Yeah.
And they're learning. We also have apparently one of the biggest egret populations, their nesting area in Northern California. And this is all at the jail.
Wow.
But I do have a picture of the jail to put it into perspective.
Okay.
And I know that this is not a great picture, but we have 62 acres.
Wow.
And,
I don't know if you can get a close-up of that. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
And so this is overhead of just Elmwood. This is where the women's jail is, and this is where the men's, and this is where they're doing a lot of their sustainability programs.
Now it's medium to low for men and max to low for women, correct?
All women. All women are here,
Okay.
but minimum to medium, and it's really actually a very pretty property. It used to be the county old almshouse, and so there's some old historic buildings that are in the middle of the camp of the minimum security inmates.
Now
So it's kind of fun.
I read on the brochure too that there's some old gardening like trellises that they were bringing back. Have they done that? Has that actually been completed? Because that was, I think, about a year ago that this brochure was put together.
Yes.